10,000 metres World Championship final. On the outside pack, and Antigua of Italy has gone straight to the front of that lot. And we've got Serrano of Spain leading the other pack on the near side. This is where they start to join, and Antigua comes straight across to take the lead. And Silio of Argentina now moving. Franco of Germany is there. 7.56. 7.96. That's Sigai, the world cross-country champion. It'll be interesting with the high jumpers here, because this field gets stretched out on the 25 laps, because they could be ringing the track. So now the high jump.
Troy Kemp. Oh, it was close. 2:37 still the height. His second attempt. From a British point of view, this is fairly important, because if Troy Kemp had cleared that height, it would have pushed Steve Smith out of a medal position. The countback system, Steve Smith having more failures at this stage than Troy Kemp. He's got one attempt left.
I just completed his first lap in the 10,000 metres fairly modestly. Antigua Italy leading. Sigai, the Kenyan, in second place. Franco of Germany is third. Then Chalimo. Silio of Argentina.
Well, the first thing I want to say about this race is that it's not a very good day for running at 10,000 metres. It's really quite warm here. The stadium keeps the air inside and enclosed in it, so the conditions for these athletes are going to be quite difficult. And I noticed on the outside of the track, unlike in last year's Olympic Games, there's no water or sponges or feeding stations. Antigua there, the man that David Coleman has described as a European with African tendencies, stretching them out, running away, running freely, but I don't think he's in the form that we've seen him in the past. The European 5 and 10,000 metre champion. I think that was just a token little effort. He just finds it difficult to control himself at a steady pace. The second lap was 70 seconds. Well, they're not doing anything yet. And as quickly as I say that, Chalimo must have heard me there, because he's dialed up on the outside, and the race after 2 laps begins to get serious.
Well, the team moved up in formation. They're 1, 2, 3. That's Chalimo, Sigai, and Moses Tanui, Franco of Germany. Now in a high jump.
A final attempt now for Troy Kemp of the Bahamas, joint Commonwealth record holder with Steve Smith, so we know he's got the form and the ability. But it's now down to determination, some stamina, because they've been out there for a couple of hours in baking hot conditions. A crucial jump. Oh, he's gone. Kemp is out. And that leaves the way clear now for Steve Smith to fight for the medal chances. Ralph Son is still in there.
Chalimo leading as they come around with 22 to go. Sigai in second place. Franco is third. Then Nizigama of Burundi. He's followed by Silva of Mexico, and then Silio of Argentina.
Well, they're just doing it gradually. They're just gradually increasing the pace from a 70-second lap to a 60-second lap. And William Sigai on the outside of Richard Chalimo, who held the world record earlier this season for about a week. He broke the world record in Stockholm, 27.7 for 10,000 metres, and then that was on a Monday night, and then on the Saturday night in Oslo, his fellow Kenyan, Yobes Ondigi, ran in the first sub-27-minute 10,000 metres. Alongside Sigai is the world 10,000 metre reigning champion, Moses Tanui. So they've got a strong field, 3 Kenyans. Sigai, the world cross-country champion. Chalimo, the runner-up in the Olympic Games and in the last World Championship. Moses Tanui, the reigning world champion. I would imagine that these 3 really feel that they can be 1, 2, 3 in this event. But right behind them is a threat from Gebre Selassie, the world junior champion from last year, the 5 and 10,000 metres, and his teammate Peter Bayisa, the other Ethiopian who won a medal in the 5,000 metres the other night too. So 1,600 metres there, 4:36, and again the pace is nothing special. They're just slowly winding it up, gradually applying the pace, and there's no point in doing anything serious until they get to halfway.
The Kenyans 1, 2 and 3, then Gebre Selassie in 4th place of Ethiopia. Franco of Germany is 5th. Sixth place, and Izzy Garma, Burundi. Just behind him is Franco. He's just behind Franco. Then comes Silva of Mexico. Most of Sigai's best running has been on the country until this season. Well, the Kenyan says really been looking forward to the track season, and he's had a very fast one already this year, 27 to 16.81. Gebre Selassie now in third place, double world junior champion at 5,000 and 10,000 metres. Tanui is 4, Franco 5, Antimo 6, Silva 7, Izzy Garma 8.
But Sigai, I feel, looks more smooth, looks more comfortable as he begins to go faster. When he's running 69 second pace, he looks a bit laborious, but when he starts stretching out and going a bit faster, he looks a superb athlete. And there is Antimo going on the outside now. Now in a high jump.
Last one of Germany, and an historic moment in high jumping. 4 men left in. The bar set at 2 meters 40. Well, that's a height that Son has never attempted before. And had he done it?
Kone of Tanzania. And now the pace beginning to stretch them out. They open with a 69 on the first lap, 70 on the second, 69, 68, 68. The last lap is 65, and it's showing because there's now about 40 metres between first and last.
Well, Richard Chalimo doesn't like running at 69 second pace. He was holding himself back. He's obviously trained much faster than this, and he doesn't like the idea of running slowly. He wants to run the race like his brother ran the race.
Artiga, 240, the same height. And just to make a slight correction in terms of the history of the event, we've never seen 4 people, but in fact, just looking down, Hollis Conway has moved up to 240 as well. So in fact, 5 people still left in the World Championship final at 2 meters 40.
Coming round with 18 to go, 7 laps gone. Chalimo leads, Gebre Selassie in second place. Izzy Garma is third, Franco Germany 4th. Then Sigai, the Kenyan. Followed by Baissa of Ethiopia. Then the world champion Tanui. Benetta beginning to show for the first time, and Antimo is being dropped. They've gone the last 2 laps, Brendan, 65, 64.
Well, Chalimo looks good at this pace, but Gebre Selassie has followed him every inch of the way. He tracked him there when he went through that 63 and a half second lap, and he went right alongside him. 3,000 metres in 8 minutes and 24 seconds. Well, it's definitely going to speed up from there. But that last 1,000 metres was quicker than any of the other 1,000 metres. And Richard Chalimo is a fine front runner. He's a young talent. He really is a young talent. Runner-up in the last World Championship, runner-up in the Olympic Games, and now he's got them where he wants them. They're hurting, and he's stretching. He's not very happy with what's happening behind him. He slowed very, very quickly there, and Gebre Selassie almost ran into his back. But Richard Chalimo in the driving seat, and watch him in the next couple of laps. He'll burst, he'll run quickly, and then he'll slow down, and that'll take its toll on the rest of the distance runners behind him.
Max is going quick, slow. In fact, he put in a burst for about 200 metres, then slowed it down for 100. He just put in another burst, and the field gone well with him. Chalimo leads, Gebre Selassie in second place, Franco is third, and Benetta 4th.
The bar set now at 7 feet 10 inches plus, 2 meters 40. Steve's first attempt. Well, nobody's come close to it yet. All will have 2 attempts to go. Sotomayor, though, in the catbird seat at the moment.
Kenya 1, Ethiopia in second place, Kenya third, Franco Germany 4th, Benetta is 5. Then Sigai, the Kenyan, in 6th place. 7 is Baissa of Ethiopia. 8th is Izzy Garma of Burundi. 9th, Silio of Argentina, and these 9 away with 16 laps still to go.
Well, another 65-second lap, and Chalimo and Sigai together want to race it out. He's not very happy, Richard Chalimo, when someone's leading him. I'm sure he's a happier athlete when he can see his way clear ahead. So if he doesn't want to let Sigai lead, he could run alongside him, get himself a clear path. And Sigai, though, he looks a bit slow there, but we saw him in the winter. He was undefeated all winter, culminating in that fine win in the Cross Country Championship. He's an excellent distance runner who's improved from 28.30 last year to 27.16 this year, and he's getting better all the time.
The gaps are growing, and Thibault's suffering, the early leader. And the previous 4 laps, they ran in 4:19. Well, that marker showing 15 still to go. Sigai leads, Chelimo second, Gebrselassie third, Franco fourth, Tanui 5, 3 Kenyans in the top 6, Veneta of Italy 7, Silio 8, Baissa 9, and Nizigama 10. They're slow to a 67 on that one.
Well, every time Sigai takes over, it gets slightly slower, and every time Chelimo takes over, it goes quicker. So that tactic is obviously one that they feel naturally better running. Sigai feeling better running slowly, and Chelimo feeling better running more quickly, and that will take its toll on the rest of them, although the clever ones are going to come back gradually to the group. And now it's Moses Tanui's turn to lead, the reigning world champion. Not being in quite as good form as this year as he was when he won the world title, but coming through, doing his bit in the lead, but he's been followed by Gebrselassie as well. So every time the Kenyans have led, Gebrselassie, the young Ethiopian, last year's world junior champion, has responded very, very quickly. We did see the other night in the 5,000 meters how quick he is on the last lap. So the Kenyans will realize that if they want to do anything about it, they're going to have to get rid of Gebrselassie before the last lap.
And so too will Sotomayor in the high jump.
2:40, the Olympic champion. Oh, the closest yet. 2 to go for Sotomayor.
A real problem for the high jumpers now, because the 10,000 meter runners were approaching him. He may have gone a bit sooner than he wanted to do, just to get the jump in. But they're strung out now. Nearly 200 meters between first and last. And it's going to get wider and wider, that gap. So the slots for the high jumpers to get across the track, well, are going to be few and far between. Fukushima there of Japan is a long way back now. Well, they slowed it down again. Baissa's joined his teammate, Gebrselassie. The Ethiopians taking turn at the lead. That's Sigai now taking it on. The German high jumper in the background, patiently waiting. But aren't many gaps for him to get in at all. Interesting point for the judges here in the high jump, because the clock's ticking away, and actually I noticed they've actually stopped the clock because they realise he can't get the jump in the time allowed.
Last attempt from Alson, top German high jumper, the man of the moment as far as Stuttgart is concerned. But his final attempt at a new personal best height. Oh, it was his best yet. But this high jump final now down to 4 competitors, including Steve Smith.
On to 5,000 metres in about 13:59. Not particularly quick. But it's the changes in the pace that seem to be worrying the other athletes. But Franca's living quite well with them, the German, so is Silio, the Argentinian, and so is Panetta. Oh, Panetta, just as I said that, is beginning to struggle. He's just at the back of that group and dropping back.
And there's Sigai goes into the lead again. We're past the halfway stage now, and I expect the sparks to begin flying soon. Chelimo takes over in the lead. Gebrselassie follows him as he's followed everyone. Sigai in 3rd place, and then Franca, who's running a fine race there, getting to halfway in 14, just inside 14 minutes. That's not excessive pace, and really there should be more of them should be able to stay with that sort of pace. That's only 28-minute pace, but Chelimo beginning to stretch them now. Gebrselassie is concentrating well.
That was Partika's second attempt, so the high jump competition very, very dramatic indeed. He'll have one attempt left. Steve Smith to go next.
And just as we watch them go through that Bayisa, the second Ethiopian has just dropped out of the race. He led there, he got a medal in the 5,000 metres, but trying to double in the 5 and the 10,000 metres in these games has been almost impossible. And the only man who's now trying to do that is the man in second place there, that's Gebre Selassie, who will have noticed his teammate dropped out there without much of a flourish, leaving Richard Chelimo to press the pace home.
Next to go in the high jump is Steve Smith. He's trying to assess why the best gap is in the 10,000 metre race. Silver, Mexico, all the early front runners. I think Steve Smith's found a gap in the high jump.
Here he goes, 2 metres 40. Well, he just brushed it off with his shoulder, so he wasn't that far away. 1 to go.
Well, the lead group now down to 6. Chelimo in front, Gebre Selassie in second place. Franca, Germany, living with these Africans extremely well. And so too is Silio of Argentina, who's in 5th place. Tanui is the Kenyan in 4th place. And also with that leading group is Nizigama from Burundi.
And there's Sigai, the world champion, who's dropped off the pace. He didn't look as though he was going smoothly earlier. Every time he took the lead, it slowed down, which told me that he wasn't obviously running the way we've seen him run before. And Chelimo stretching them out. But they're all coming around now down the finishing straight, and it must be extremely difficult in the high jump. The athletes are queuing up to go in the high jump, and there's just no place for them to go.
Hollis Conway, final attempt, and he's failed. Now that means that Steve Smith is confirmed with at least a bronze medal. And it's rather ironic that Hollis Conway, who got the bronze in the last World Championships, has failed, and that means the Liverpool Harrier has got a medal out of these World Championships.
Well, the lead two there, Chelimo and Gebre Selassie, followed by Tanui, and the leading 3 have now broken the German Franca. He's back in 4th place. In 5th place, also struggling is Nizigama. And Sigai now a long way back.
Well, apart from it being a fierce race on the front there now, these are fierce conditions for running at 10,000 metres. Every single athlete we've looked at, you can see how much they're suffering in the heat, except for Richard Chelimo and Gebre Selassie of Ethiopia. Moses Tanui closed the gap there, but he looks to be in trouble now in 3rd place as Chelimo accelerates. But every time Chelimo's accelerated, he's released the pressure. He hasn't applied it for more than about 200 metres, which gives Gebre Selassie another chance. We've seen Gebre Selassie at the finish. Richard Chelimo saw him closing on his brother Ismail Karui, who won the 5,000 metres, so he knows what Gebre Selassie is like at the finish. And I think Richard Chelimo has now got to concentrate on trying to apply the pressure for more than 200 metres. Just keep pushing, just keep trying to get away, because you're being closed down in 3rd place by his teammate Moses Tanui as he releases his foot from the accelerator and allows him to catch up.
And behind the leader is a lot of big-name athletes feeling the pain. Chelimo leads, Gebre Selassie in 2nd place, the leader 21, the man in 7th place for lead 20. Then the defending world champion, Moses Tanui. He's 28. The gap growing now as Franca of Germany goes back into 5th place and into 4th place, some 40 metres behind the leaders, is Nizigama of Burundi. Then 5 is Franca, and 6th place Sigai, 7th is Silio of Argentina, 8th Panetta of Italy. Well, it's difficult to see in the foreseeable future how these East African to be beaten.
Well, that's certainly right, but the first 5,000 metres at 14 minutes, I just feel that in the European days of when Lasse Viren and people like that were running, they would have been in contention, certainly halfway, whereas 14 minutes is not excessive. I'm surprised that the group was as small as it was.
I think the point you made it a couple of times earlier, Brendan, the conditions really, I do find it a bit surprising that they've chosen mid-afternoon to run a 10,000 metre final.
The world record holder Sotomayor about to take his second attempt down. Still the bar at 240, 7 feet 10 and a half. Oh yes, I thought his run-up was not going terribly well, but that is a sign of a true champion. The Olympic champion and the world record holder takes a real stranglehold. Well, that of course was a little earlier. You may have heard the roar, but that is Artur Partika. And he's gone now. If the positions stay the same, Partika will get silver. But Steve Smith still has 1 attempt left.
The leaders have 5.5 laps left in the 10,000 metres. And the battle is really on. Chelimo, the Kenyan, versus Gebrselassie, the Ethiopian. The world champion himself, Tanui, dropped off the pace a lap ago, and he's now some 20-odd metres behind. Actually, I just crossed those Kenyans because I was watching a high jump. It's Tanui who's made the break, the defending champion. Gebrselassie has gone with him, and Chelimo is the one who's suffering, which is surprising.
Well, just less than 5 laps to go in the 10,000 metres, and I'm a bit surprised that the field is strung out as much as it is, because the pace isn't excessive. It's not a fantastic pace to run 10,000 metres. I'm very surprised to see Richard Chelimo drop off the back of the group, and I noticed that Moses Tanui invited Gebrselassie to take the lead, and Gebrselassie said, well, if you want me to, I will, but I'm going to slow it down, which he did, and every single person who's led, Gebrselassie has followed. So now the pressure is on Moses Tanui.
High jump.
Final attempt, and it's an important one. It's not to be, but what a marvellous performance. Steve Smith finishes with a bronze medal. He's only 20 years old, but he's equalled the Commonwealth record. He's equalled the British record. Sotomayor wins, Partika in second, and Liverpool Harriers gets a bronze medal in the shape of Steve Smith.
So the defending world champion Tanui leading, Gebrselassie in second place, and really we get a chance now to concentrate on the 10,000 metres. I mean, keep an eye on the high jumpers as well, because there's only Sotomayor left, and he's certain of the gold medal. He can take his time now and wait for the 10,000 metres to finish. Canetta, silver medalist in 87, a long way back today. Chelimo saying, come on, take your turn. He's not interested. Tanui, rather, crossing this two. Tanui, just looking back there. And he's saying, come on, take your turn. And Gebrselassie is just not interested.
Well, why should he be? He's here to win a race. He's not here to run a time. And Moses Tanui inviting him to help him with a pace. Well, they're in a battle here for a gold medal. Moses Tanui leads, the reigning world champion. Gebrselassie follows behind him. He's followed behind every single leader. He's concentrated on this race beautifully. He's moved closely to the leader when he's needed to, but he's not interested in leading. There's 3 laps to go, and he's here for a gold medal. He won a silver medal in the 5,000 metres the other night, so it would be a remarkable double that he could win this race. And there in third place, Richard Chelimo. Well, I'm surprised to see him back there, but I didn't think he ran a great race. I thought he ran a race where he was pushing the pace occasionally, but not keeping the pressure on sufficiently to get rid of the rest of the field. And he's paid the price for that. He led for a long way and wasn't able to split the field apart. Moses Tanui went through a bad patch, and then he managed to close on them when they slowed down. But Gebrselassie, he's just tracked.
Stuttgart, Germany, and the focus on the final laps of the men's 10,000. And these two have been in this position for the last few laps, with about 6 laps remaining. Moses Tanui indicated to Gebrselassie, why don't you get up and do some front running? He stepped aside and indicated, go on by. but Gabriel Selassie stayed right where he was, stalking Moses Tanui.
It's very sensible tactics in many respects there, because he's forcing Tanui to do the running, and Tanui knows that all the time Gabriel Selassie is behind him. He also knows he's got good finishing speed. It's a different situation for Tanui. In 1991 in Tokyo, he let Richard Chalimo do an immense amount of front running, and at one stage Chalimo was 200 meters ahead of the field. And then with about 600 meters to go, Tanui, tremendous finishing effort, brought him the gold medal. The situation is somewhat reversed today, and Gabriel Selassie is quite within his rights, of course, to stay back and let Tanui do the running.
And that can be so frustrating when you're running and, you know, you have such a long way to go still, and someone's breathing down your back.
Gabriel Selassie is right behind Tanui. They have about 550 meters remaining. And it is going to be a battle for the gold between these two. I don't think there's any question of that. Richard Chalimo, the world record holder for a brief span of 5 days, is simply too far back. So they're now coming up to the bell in the men's 10,000.
And lapping such notaries as Salvatore Ancibo and many other world-class runners. This race has put something as Gabriel Selassie stood on Tanui's heel, and he's kicked his shoe off, and he's now also starting his finishing kick. That's a long finishing kick in a race like this.
Running barefoot, he has kicked off his left shoe. Gabriel Selassie came up to him at the bell. Tanui threw up his hands. It appeared as though Gabriel Selassie may have stepped on his heel. So Tanui kicked off his shoe. This is incredible.
200 meters to go for Tanui. Can he defend his championship? Has he opened a big enough gap in front of Haile Gabriel Selassie?
Gabriel Selassie was the bronze medalist at 5,000 meters. He's now closing the gap on Tanui. Tanui running barefoot with his left foot without a shoe, kicking it off at the bell. But here comes Gabriel Selassie, the sprint to the finish line, and Gabriel Selassie is going to get there ahead of him. Gabriel Selassie stalking Tanui for most of the last 10 laps, and then overtaking him in the final 50 meters and sprinting to the gold medal. This is where the accident occurred. Just at the bell, Gabriel Selassie coming up on Tanui. Tanui throwing up his arm saying, what is going on? His shoe obviously came loose, and he decided that rather than run with a loose shoe, he would simply kick it off and run barefoot, as so many of the Kenyans do start their running routines as barefoot athletes. But look at this. Tanui is upset with Gabriel Selassie. Gabriel Selassie trying to apologize, and Tanui is having none of it.
Very angry.
Naturally angry, naturally very frustrated when he'd done such a lot of front running. To be beaten on the run-in, it's always extremely disheartening for a runner. But there they are. This was not to be his day.
Wild finish in the 10K. Gabriel Selassie borrowing a page from Doug Flutie and winning it with the old sneaker play. Moses loses it by about a foot. Moses, you must be extremely disappointed. Tell me what happened there. And
somebody stepped on my shoes, and I could not run the last lap the way I wanted.
Of course, it was the man that beat you, and that makes it all the more difficult. How did you feel going into that lap, and could you have run barefoot any better?
Sure, because if I had my shoes, it could not fit me. Definitely, I know that, because my sprint is too fast also.
Is there an avenue for you to protest an incident like this?
This is not an accident. This is an accident because this is not a good running. Because how somebody stayed here and all that. He pushed me for several laps, like 5 laps to go. He pushed me all the time at the back until I stop and tell him to go. He refuses all the time. So I decided to move alone. And I was preparing to run my last lap so that he cannot beat me. And I know he cannot beat me in the last lap. So he stepped on my shoes and my shoes was off. So I could not run very fast.
Very tough luck. Good luck in the future, and congratulations on the silver. Heartbreaker for Moses, and tough for the Ethiopian too, because a moment like this should always be cherished. As you can see, even during the medal ceremony, they ran clips of the whole affair. A rather cold gold here in Stuttgart today.